So as much as I am independent media, the mainstream legacy press still drives my news cycle too. Like they queue up topics for discussion. They don't know how they queue up my channel for discussion also. So like I want to talk about bubbles, because this idea of bubbles and echo chambers is put out there like it's, like a huge quandary, and it's problematic for people, but for us it's so simple. So why do we have to think that much? Like it seems like it's not that, they want to control thoughts and stuff. So here's the thing about these bubbles, right, is that they're kept, or they're meant to be kept that way. If you're trying to chip away and get to somebody to break through the bubble, to give the person a perspective that you feel like they need, because maybe their tactics are from another decade or something like that, or so they're sending people to the meat grinder, and they don't have seems like no way to know that, like, if anybody tells them your tactics are wrong, somebody around them is going to seize upon them. They're going to be thrown in a gulag or something. So the information gap between people who just want to be left alone and don't want to be bothered with a bunch of convoluted shit, and people who are adept to in propaganda, or know just the basic simple definitions in simplest terms, and they keep things grounded in simplest terms, like what it is. Propaganda is just basically any belligerent that films any information and puts it out there for the public. So an independent media, a true independent media, cannot be propaganda, because you're supposed to be impartial and unattached to the information that you're aggregating. It's just like, oh, here's a little bit of this, here's a little bit of that, and then you make up your mind, but just presenting you with it itself. So that information gap is earmarks. It's not even the sleeper cell's fault. Like, it's not even the sleeper's fault. Like, people who are deceived, and people who push an agenda that is not even their own, and it's like they do it for free, like without, like, they'll slander somebody without any interest of self-interest, seemingly. This rant is not meant to go on to like fucking, chastise or anything like that. What I want to get to, though, is that information gap is earmarked by a group or a partnership or a class of people that know how to take the nescience of the public's lack of perspective on what's going on, and turn it into like a glut of slush fun, like, like it's like slush. It's earmarks and it's slush fun. It's like, where does they don't have to create any more value, because they're the quartermaster or the baron class. They have the efficiency, productivity, and like, they can waste commodities. It's like only amount of money they can make is how much they can sell, and there's extra. So I'm not saying that I'm pissed off because they have the ability to do this and they can support and maintain themselves because they have a silver spoon. I'm not doing none of that. There's a huge slush fund to be gained from if the public views a group of mercenaries as if they were rebel freedom fighters. It's the new age austerity. So that is a blank check. And that's something that somebody feels like is earmarked. Your ignorance is somebody else's personal entitlement to earmarked slush funds that hasn't even been created yet. And that's why they have to keep those people in bubbles. You want to try and pop that bubble and get to them, you might as well just want to focus on your family and shit. Like, you might as well just want to stay out the way. And so by staying out the way, there's going to be all these things going on. And if you hear that some rebels did this and that, like, it's not your fault if you say that, oh, do you hear about those rebels? Is that really your fault? Like, you're only culpable if you are in the knowledge before people who are innocent find out. The knowledge itself is a culpability until it reaches the domain of the public, where you can say that I'm either choosing to live in ignorance or I'm processing that, because you don't get a choice to question what you know. People, when something is known or it's the truth, you don't even have to speak it. You don't even have to say it, and it's impossible to question it. So the fact that you're in the dark on something is somebody's fault, but it's not yours. It's the person's fault who knows, who's in the knowledge at the time when they conflated the terminology. They conflate the terminology knowing. Okay, we pick it up, the terminology not knowing means not your fault. And we have to make sure the responsibility sticks where it belongs, because like, they look at you and make you feel like you did something wrong because you're not you haven't reached consensus with them. Well, if you have some information that I'm not privy to, then you would be like, let's say I found out somehow. You're gonna be like, what right do you have without the knowledge to, you're not even in the know. So this is they see that as injustice, and you are earmarked for their slush fund for the information gap that pertains to their culpability, not yours. They want to cash in, and then they want to sacrifice you for the complacency and the negligence that they have. They're doing a plausibility deniability thing where they can convert your energy into a slave, because they don't even want to ever have to touch that work. You know what I mean? They don't ever want to have to. They don't want you to stop doing it either. They don't want you to find a new hustle and get off of an old hustle onto a new hustle. Like, so because you have the ability to find the new hustle and get off of one, then that's more threatening to them. If you try to rage against the machine, they love in that. Throw you right in there, can make license plates, get them working right away.